The temple is the house of God. The Jews who came to worship in the temple are required to pay the temple tax for its upkeep. In the gospel today, the collectors of the temple tax want to know whether Jesus pays it or not. Peter assures them that he does. But on entering the house, Jesus asked Peter, "From whom do the kings of the earth take tolls or census tax? From their subjects or from foreigners?" Peter replies, "From foreigners." At a very young age, Jesus is already fully aware of this. When Mary and Joseph came looking for him and found him in the temple, he asked them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" Being the Son of God, the temple is also his house. Hence, he cannot be obliged to pay the temple tax. And since his disciples are his brothers, sons of the same Father, therefore they should also exempt. However, in the gospel today, Jesus still paid the tax. He explained that we may not offend them. Referring to the tax collectors in the temple, he instructed Peter to catch a fish in whose mouth he will find a coin worth twice the temple tax. Jesus knew that Peter needed this extra grace of this personal miracle so that he could not move beyond his fears and struggles and place all of his trust in Jesus. This is the conclusion Peter would have arrived at. Jesus was trustworthy. Therefore, everything he said should be believed. What a wonderful conclusion for us all to arrive at. If Jesus, the Son of God, though not obliged, still paid the temple tax, then by his example, he is teaching us that we too must be generous in our support for the upkeep of the house of God. If we pay our taxes to the government to support its various programs and services for the temporal benefit of the people, so also we must support the church in her programs and services for the glory of God and the salvation of the souls. Unfortunately, not too many Catholics are aware of this obligation. The Code of Canon Law is clear on this. Christ's faithful have the obligation to provide for the needs of the church, so that the church has available to those things which are necessary for divine worship, for apostolic and charitable work, and for the worthy support of its members. Many people complain that when we give the offerings, it is misusing by the church authority and staff. But one thing that you have to remember, if they are misusing, they are accountable in front of God. Your duty is to support the church, to give your offering. So, giving your offering, you are giving your share to the church and for the works of the charity works of the church. And it is the duty of the church authority as well as the staff to make use as a worthy thing that is acceptable to God. Otherwise, they have to be accountable in front of God because everything given by God and He always notices it. So, when you give, don't think what is to come, rather it is coming from your heart and offering. So let us examine our hearts. How generous are we to God? Generosity is not a matter of the pocket, it is a matter of the heart. We may be materially poor, but we can still be generous. Indeed, we need not be rich to be generous. We only need to have a heart that is grateful to God for the countless blessings He gives us every moment of our lives. A grateful heart is always a generous heart. A quotation says, "When God blesses you financially, don't raise your standard of living, raise your standard of giving. For indeed, as mentioned by St. Francis in his prayer for peace, it is in giving that we receive. When we give to God, we don't lose anything, we gain everything, including the eternal and lasting treasures in the Father's house.